In the 1930s, in Spain occurred a strange infectious disease in children. This disease causes children to lose their feelings of pain. No sweat glands, can't cry. So is it good or bad when children get this disease? The answer is bad. The children are unaware of its danger. They don't know that what they do will hurt others because not knowing what pain was, the children took their bodies out in their free time to play with themselves. How sad it is. Officials said that these children are demons. They want to bring the children to the monastery on the mountain to isolate them from the outside world. The masses protested, but the children were still taken away. They don't know this separation will last a lifetime. When those children were taken to the monastery, they had their hair cut, tattooed their number, and wearing a bra and a mask over their mouths. Then they were locked in separately room. In the room, there is only a small window and nothing to play with. The child can only play with the sun to comfort. Is this the treatment or imprisoning these poor children? This nun is the only one who loves the boy. She is always very meticulous to feed him by herself. Looking at this innocent, adorable face, tears fell from self-control. The child wiped the nun's tears and asked, "What is this?" The nun said that these are tears. When people feel happy or in pain, they shed tears. The child asked again, "What is pain?" "It is the opposite of joy." The child innocently asked if she was in pain. The nun answered with a smile that she was happy. But when the nun just got out the door, she couldn't help but ask the doctor that how long will the kids be locked up and how are they supposed to cure them? But the doctor told her there is no cure for this disease. The nun finished listening in amazement, but she heard that there is a German expert who will come to cure these children. But the doctor had quashed her hopes. That expert doesn't come to this distant country and heal a bunch of demons. The child is in the dark room, vaguely hearing singing beside. The boy was very curious, so he kept a spoon to dig the dirt on the edge of the wall. Through the small void, he saw a little girl. In that closed secret space, the two children met and made friends for the first time. But at that moment someone came. Was the expert in the legend that the nun always mentioned. The nun applied eye drops for him because the boy could not cry. He needed specialized eye drops. The expert was amazed. He was very interested in this strange disease, so he decided to stay here to help these unhappy children. Through the test results, the children's sensory nerve activity index was 0. That means this disease is incurable. But the expert did not give up. First, he wants these children to know what pain is, so he started teaching the kids by showing them the experiment. Then he brought in a dog with a tumor in his left kidney and asked the children to feel it. This boy's genius is very high. He successfully removed that tumor without harming the little dog's life. This is the first step in the treatment chain. Because of this, the children know how to avoid hurting themselves. The boy told the expert that he wanted to take care of the dog, but was rejected by the abbot. But the boy sneakily hugged the dog back to the room that night. Not long after the puppy's cry caught the nun's attention, they thought he hurt the dog. She gave him a slap. Then they took the dog back and beat him. The very angry boy used a surgical knife to attack the nun. It was very difficult for them to change the boy, but this time he became the devil in everyone's thoughts again. That day, a group of soldiers went to the monastery. They want to take the sick kids away. In danger, the expert took his status to save the children and nuns. But in this harsh wartime, the medical supplies in the monastery were almost exhausted. The expert has no way to maintain the research. He also had no way to return the children to their families, so he decided to give the child a shot of medicine to safely leave. But through that little hole, the boy witnessed his only friend being injected to death. That was the first time the boy shed tears. He had no way of accepting this. He also cannot understand the expert always protects them, but now he wanted to harm them like that. This is the first time he feels pain. As the expert was about to give the boy an injection, he did not hesitate to put an end to him. The miserable boy stretched out his small hands. He wanted the monk to embrace him, but the nun was threatened with a daze. She ran outside and closed the door. The door closed also meant that no one could save the boy until 3 years later, an army officer came to the monastery. Inside was still a dark room. Suddenly they found out there was a skeleton hanging on the window. In the dark corner, they found a child because he hasn't interacted with other people for a long time, so he forgot how to talk. The officer gave him a name, Benigno. By the time the boy has grown up, on his body are scars that look terrifying, looks like a devil. The officer takes advantage of his special illness and turns him into an emotionless interrogation machine. Ben can do the cruel tactics, interrogate the most stubborn criminals. The day a female criminal was brought there, she has no fear at all. Ben sees in her eyes the figure of his old friend. Not only did Ben not hurt her, but he also untied the ropes for her. Maybe he considered this girl in front of him to be the little girl from the past once locked up with him. She gave him some comfort. That day the officer received an order from his superior to prepare for the evacuation. The officer had to kill the girl, but Ben stopped him. Turns out she was pregnant. The officer decided to put a deal on him. He wanted to raise the child, and the two will be free. Ben no longer knew what freedom was, but he agreed. Ben thought that this is a good house for the baby. Few decades passed. A doctor went with his pregnant wife. They were in a traffic accident by chance. The wife passed away. The baby in the womb survived. But the husband had a hard time escaping death. Then he discovered that he had leukemia. The only way to cure it is through a parent's bone marrow transplant. But he learned the truth, that he was not the biological child of his parents. His father did not want to reveal his biological father because it was a heavenly secret. Even decades ago that secret was buried deep. The man was the kid that was taken away that year, and his father was that officer. The reason to hide this is because he didn't want to face the crimes he committed. When these things were revealed little by little, he was overwhelmed with guilt, so he chose to commit suicide. The man went to the monastery that year and found the room that locked his father. He discovered a secret tunnel. There are many capsules here. Maybe they are already dead, but suddenly there appeared a young woman here. At this moment Ben appeared in the back and attacked him. Flames fell to the ground. The two of them stared at each other. When they looked deeply into the other's eyes, they immediately realized the bond of blood. This is the first time they met. Ben embraced the woman and stepped into the fire. Then he looked at his son. Use fire to end the story. A senseless life just passed like that. Thank you for watching. Follow my page to watch more film review.